Okay. So watch this. Like, this is wild. Like, now, mind you, I know a lot of stuff, but man, when this was coming together, I was like, all right, let me sit down. Because it was undeniable. And I think it's because, personally, if you ask me why, it's because somebody named me James. And because I was naturally going to figure out like everything about my macrocosmic self, but I had to go through my microcosmic self, I ended up figuring out what James Evans Bomar is. And then also being able to do that from the other side of the glass, and then seeing also how there were others being casted in that card, and then actually seeing the whole deck and like, oh snap, if there's anything that you learn from me here tonight is that study yourself. Because if you study yourself, you will, this is the way that because you're the map. You're going to see here in a moment that you're actually the map. So this gets so mystical because you've literally left yourself clues. The real adventure is happening, just like they be playing around on TV with. But let's keep going. So we understand, again, look, I just got to even show that on the site that we were looking at, just to show you the synchronicity of what we're saying. Let me see, where's my movie mirror? Here it is right here. Okay. So this is the encyclopedia, what we were reading about the microcosm and the macrocosm. It's in science encyclopedias, almanacs, transcripts, and then maps. Okay. So just to see how they file it in the matrix, because they know about this in the matrix. Everything that they're doing is based on this system, the system of Jack. Now watch this. Now in this game, we find that, and this is, okay, so what we're looking at then, and this is legalese, right? Like this is probably the continuation of the cosmic law. This is the glossary of the game terms, okay? Let me put this link across. And I'm going to show why I ended up coming to this. Because, first of all, I took a step back and I was like, okay, because it was still talking to me. And it was like, okay, remember I told you, Hermes, he's a trickster god. Don't forget this. This is the Joker or the fool or the jester. Okay? It's a trickster god. And what these beings do and what they've designed is a game that they can trick a person out of everything. So first of all, there is a bigger game, a high table, if you may. And let me just explain that very quickly. There is a macrocosm for real, right? Bigger players, celestial beings. You're one of them. And you're also in the collective. This one is like, the one that you're in right now is like a theft from the one that you are. It's like they stole a baby of you and then put you in a micro earth through a series of tricks and games and spells that they play on beings from the cosmos all the time. So they already have been ID'd. And if you understand, again, how this is designed, and we explained it before, but for somebody that's just listening to this recording, you have to now see that the ocean, or this large body of water that we have here, functions as a mirror. It is the smoky mirror. It is the obsidian. Because at night, the ocean water is like black glass. And then the moon, which you'll see, plays all the components of languages, subconscious mind, and narrative, projects a person's consciousness onto the waters. Now, we are actually in the stars, if you may. That's not necessarily up. It's more of like, that's what I was saying about time. It's more of like everywhere. So we're in the stars, so we're shining. But our shine gets captured by the deep, and the deep incubates that shine. It will take that seed of light, and then it will start growing it and forming it. And this is life in worlds. So the original 360 degree is kind of like more of that. I think they call that the Dendara, right? Calendar, where it's like all of these celestial bodies and beings, and then they're all being held up and they're all kind of holding up each other. And this is like the original matrix. It works in a perfect circle, and it is in itself perpetual. We would see that as the Om, okay, or the Taurus. We talked about this before, but we'll have it up here on the screen just for visualization. This is what is surrounding everything. So in this way, everything is actually going on inside of this. So even these other geometries like the pentagram is going on inside of this. And that's always important to know, because if you get it confused and you get tricked, you will actually think that you basically are the small version, because that's the trick. The trick is to make you think that you're the pentagram only, and that is your only identity. That's like them trying to convince everybody here that we're only bodies and we don't actually have any other identity. And they enforce that, right? Like even in church and all these other institutions, you would be better off going to one of them flower power festivals to truly know divinity than to walk inside of any religion. Like it was even the other day, had populated my feed with a Psych Substance video, and he was out there doing an interview with them folks at this festival. And boy, that's where I do most of my research at. Meaning all the folks that be taking them substances, they be like, he was asking them like, what was the worst experience that they ever had? And right then you was able to actually map out the entire netherworld just from where they had gone. And then the ones that was, and then he also asked them what was the best one. And you was able to actually map out heaven from what they said, because they have been there, because it's all a part of this whole chemical state of consciousness, right? But few have ever even these days been in that state, right? It's like, it still makes up a very small percentage of people who even go on those kind of journeys. And again, I'm not encouraging you to do that. You can actually do that with your breath and naturally, but I'm also not discouraging the situation, because I also had taken a journey and I was flabbergasted at what I was seeing, meaning that I was like, damn, I guess there's a third eye. Now we're at that point where there's going to be no going back of thinking there's no third eye, and that's a big impact on life. So now let me just keep going with this, because you have to understand how this is all designed, because you need to understand that you cannot come through this with hatred, anger, or envy, because you're going to be hating yourself. You're actually going to be hating the body and the environment that you're living in. And that's not going to work out. I'm telling you from experience. I probably burned off literally an entire life doing that, running down some battlefield somewhere, fighting some battle for something, right? So the reality here is that we're going to have to do this truly with love, right? Which is the Taurus. And that's just a perspective that you're around this so you can contain it. This is why they show the mother with child, right? Her son, because that's why I was saying there is no father in that dynamic. Do you see? Because they try to introduce a father God in these new traditions. Notice how they even peep it out, like, because Christianity is like the culprit here. Now they literally tell you in the New Testament that the son has taken the position of the father, right? That there's now no need for the father anymore. So what you're witnessing literally is you're witnessing how Jack, as I'll show you here in a moment, has replaced the king, meaning that there is no need for a king on the dimension anymore. Now the dimension doesn't have a God. Like, look in the deck of cards, that there is no God card. You see what I mean? So this all means something. So let me slow down here and let me bring it back in.